You're 18, dragging a hose across a gravel lot, washing a Buick that was traded in this morning. 2 decades later, the company you built sells to Berkshire Hathaway for an estimated $4 billion. Between those two moments sit 16,990 franchised rooftops, a 48.6% 5-year failure rate, and one handshake with Warren Buffett. This is every level of owning a car dealership in America and what it actually costs to climb. If you like breakdowns of how careers actually progress, like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Level 1. The Lot Porter. You're 18 years old at Bob's Auto Sales, and the owner pays you cash. $5 to $15 a car. On a good Saturday, that's $40 cash in your back pocket. You wash 6 to 10 cars between 9 a.m. and dusk, and your hands smell like tire shine for 2 days afterward. The work is simple, and the rules are not. You vacuum the floorboards. You wipe the dash. You shoot the photos that go on the website. The dealer calls them VDP photos, Vehicle Detail Page. And if the angle is wrong, the car sits another week on the lot. That's called lot rot, and lot rot eats the owner's margin. You learn the word fresh ones for cars that just hit the line. You learn gas up, the morning ritual where every unit gets its tank topped off, so a buyer never sees an empty needle. Within a year, the cash job becomes a real W-2 job. The federal minimum wage is $7.25 an hour, unchanged since July 2009. And under 20, you can be paid as little as $4.25 an hour for the first 90 days. Across the country, there are 365,290 people doing this work. Cleaners of vehicles and equipment, the official label, at a mean wage of $16.95 an hour, $35,250 a year. Of those, 73,600 work on franchise dealer lots, where the pay is slightly worse and the asphalt is slightly newer. You hang dealer plates. You move stock between rows in 95-degree heat, and the sales manager curses you for parking the Tahoe too close to the F-150. Then it's quiet again. By 22, you've washed about 8,000 cars, and you've decided you want to be inside the showroom, not behind it. Level 2. The Green Pea. You step onto the floor in a cheap suit, and the veterans call you a green pea before you shake a single hand. Your first year, you'll make somewhere between $25,000 and $50,000. The good ones, the ones who survive, average $67,846 by year 3, the number NADA reported in its 2015 workforce study. You work on commission. 20 to 30% of front-end gross, minus a pack fee of $500 to $1,000 the dealer takes off the top before they calculate your cut. When the gross is too thin to commission, you get a mini $100 to $200 flat for moving the unit. Your draw is $290 to $400 a week against future commissions, and if you don't sell, you owe the house. You learn the language fast. Ups are walk-in customers. A B-back is the customer who said they'd come back tomorrow, and the B-back rate is roughly 1 in 10. TO means turnover, when your closer takes the desk because you couldn't land the deal. You work the foursquare, trade value, down payment, monthly payment, price. The customer thinks they're negotiating 4 numbers. They're negotiating 1. In 2022, when used inventory was scarce and rates were low, the average new vehicle gross at public dealers hit $5,903 per car, peak boom. By the fourth quarter of 2024, that number had collapsed to $3,298, and the broader Presidio NCM dataset put the average at just $2,247. The boom paid off student loans. The normalization paid off lunch. Then there's the attrition. NADA's workforce study tracked sales consultant turnover at 67 to 80% annually before the pandemic. In the first half of 2020, it hit 78%. In 2024, it jumped another 13 percentage points. 2/3 of your training class will be gone by next October. Fired, quit, or chased out by the draw they couldn't pay back. You hit your numbers anyway. The general sales manager taps you on the shoulder and asks if you've ever thought about the box. Level 3. The box. They call the finance and insurance office the box because that's what it is. A small room with a desk, a screen, and a customer who already said yes to the car. You walk them through the menu. service contract, gap insurance, prepaid maintenance, tire and wheel, key replacement, paint protection. The 2016 NADA Workforce Study put the average F&I manager at $132,786 a year, and 13% of them earned more than $200,000. By 2023, a finance manager training survey of 288 producers showed more than 63% earned over $150,000, and more than a quarter earned $250,000 or more. You learn the math behind the math. In 2019, the average F&I gross per vehicle retailed was $1,214. By the first quarter of 2025, Hague Partners reported it at $2,505, a record. While the showroom margin collapsed, the box went the other way. You're now the most profitable employee in the building. Vehicle service contracts penetrated 46%, gap at 45%, prepaid maintenance at 17%. The benchmark is 1.3 to 1.7 products per deal. Then comes the night that teaches you what the job actually is. A young couple sits in your office at 8:45 p.m., 2 kids in the lobby, bad credit. Stipulations. The lender wants 3 pay stubs and proof of residence before they'll fund. You get the stubs faxed in, the lender bumps the rate. You have to walk back out and tell them the payment went up $47 a month. The wife starts crying. The husband signs anyway. You hit your PVR for the month on that one deal. You drive home, and you don't talk for the whole ride. The next morning, the general manager pulls you into his office. Not to fire you, to promote you. He wants you running the desk. Sales manager. Average comp $127,693 per the 2015 NADA study, and the variable side of the store reports to you. You take it. The kid washing cars on the back lot is the only one who waves at you on your way in. Level 4. The independent lot. You take the cash you saved, the equity from your house, and you open Bob's Auto Sales. Your name above the door this time. In Texas, you post a $50,000 surety bond, sit through a 6-hour pre-licensing course, and pay $700 for your general distinguishing number license. In Florida, the bond is $25,000. In California, $50,000 and an inspector visit. In New York, $20,000 if you sell 50 cars or fewer a year. You have $200,000 in cash, 15 used units on a corner lot, and a sign that lights up at night. The average used vehicle list price is $25,571 per Cox Automotive, meaning your inventory alone ties up nearly $400,000. You floor plan most of it through Next Gear Capital, who finances more than 22,000 independent dealers nationwide. You pay curtailment every 30 days on every aged unit. Recon costs an average of $1,679 per car in 2024. Tires, detail, the dent on the rear quarter, the check engine light nobody disclosed at the auction. Some months your gross per unit is $2,300. Some months it's $1,400. You drive to Mannheim on Tuesday and bid against 8 million wholesale units a year. You learn skip tracing, kill switches, the difference between a rebuilt title and a salvage title that someone tried to wash through 3 states. You consider buy here, pay here, financing the buyer yourself, the way the high-margin lots do it. The 2022 NIADA 20 group reported a $6,100 gross per unit on buy here, pay here. It also reported a $5,024 charge-off per unit by 2024. Subprime defaults run 28.4%. You decide against it. The numbers from the Bureau of Labor Statistics sit on your desk like a weather report. 22.1% of new businesses fail in year 1, 48.6% by year 5, 65.3% by year 10. You make it to year 5, then year 7. Then a Toyota dealer 2 towns over calls you, says he's retiring, asks if you want to buy his store. Level 5. The franchise. There are 16,990 franchised rooftops in America, not 17,000. Exactly 16,990 at year-end 2025 per NADA. Together they sell 15.9 million new vehicles and generate $1.2 trillion in revenue. To buy in, you need blue sky, real estate, and floored inventory. The average dealership real estate value per Kerrigan Advisors is $13.9 million. Inventory floor runs $5 to $30 million depending on brand and turn. Blue Sky. The goodwill premium depends entirely on the badge above the door. Porsche trades at 9 to 10 times pre-tax earnings. Lexus, 8 to 10. BMW, 7.5 to 9. Mercedes, 7.25 to 8.75. Toyota, 6.5 to 8.5. Honda, 6 to 7. Chevrolet, 3.75 to 4.75. Stellantis, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, collapsed to 3 to 4 times. Lincoln and Infiniti dropped to dollar-only deals, 0 to 2 million. The badge on the wall is the multiple. The 2024 average pre-tax profit per dealership was $4 million per Hague, down from a $6.4 million peak in 2022, but still double the $2 million baseline of 2019. The average Blue Sky value at public traded stores, $20.9 million, up 122% from 2019. You learn the hidden game. Fixed ops, service and parts generates roughly 49% of total dealership gross profit on just 12% of revenue. The unsexy bay behind the showroom is the actual engine. The manufacturer owns the upside. Cadillac runs an $800 million Project Pinnacle program. About 400 small dealers offered $120,000 to $180,000 buyouts to walk away. Ford's Model E EV certification cost dealers an average of $600,000 before Ford sunset the program in 2024. You build a single Toyota store into a $4 million a year operation. Then you buy a second one in the next county. Then a third. Level 6. The Group. You now run multi-rooftop. In 2024, 510 franchise rooftops traded hands per Hague. Kerrigan recorded 438 separate transactions covering 697 franchises sold, a record year, up 10%. 95% of those buyers were private. Single-store deals rose to 81% of the 2025 market. Group EBITDA multiples run 4 to 7 times. The path archetypes are visible from where you sit. Rick Hendrick built around 140 dealerships and a Forbes net worth of roughly $1 billion. Herb Chambers built 60 stores, $2.9 billion in 2024 revenue, and sold to Asbury in February 2025 for $1.34 billion, announced $1.45 billion aggregate. Norman Brayman still operates around 20 stores at a Forbes valuation of $2.6 to $3 billion. Roger Penske started in 1965 with a single Chevrolet store and a $75,000 loan from his father. By 2024, his group ran roughly 360 retail locations and $30.5 billion in revenue. The cautionary tale sits on your desk too. Bill Hurt Enterprises. Once the world's largest Chevrolet dealer, $2.1 billion in 2007 revenue, collapsed in 5 weeks in September 2008 when GMAC cut their floor plan financing. More than 50% of the dealer industry is in mid-generational transition right now. The exit windows are opening, and the buyers are calling. Level 7. The Exit. On October 2, 2014, Berkshire Hathaway announces it's buying the Tuyl Group. The deal closes March 10, 2015. Berkshire never publicly discloses the price, but Automotive News and Hague Partners estimate it at roughly $4 billion, somewhere between $4 and $4.8 billion. 78 dealerships at announcement, 81 at close. More than $9 billion in revenue. 100-plus franchises across 10 states. About 10,000 employees. The fifth largest auto retailer in the country, renamed Berkshire Hathaway Automotive, headquartered in Dallas. Larry Van Tuyl, the chairman. Cecil Van Tuyl, his father, opened the first store, a Chevrolet Point in Kansas City, in 1955. Cecil died November 20, 2012, 2 years before the deal. Larry signs a loan on a handshake. Buffett writes in his 2014 letter to shareholders, "We are now car guys." The buyer's universe at the very top is small and getting smaller. Lithia, $36.2 billion in 2024 revenue, 459 locations. Penske, $30.5 billion. AutoNation, $26.8 billion across 243 stores. Group 1, $19.9 billion. Asbury, $17.2 billion. Sonic, $14.2 billion. They have cheaper capital. They have facility budget. They have the patience that families run out of. You signed in 1990. You sign out in 2025. The kid with the hose made $40 cash on a Saturday in 1988. The man on the press release made an estimated $4 billion on a Tuesday in March 2015. Between them sit 16,990 franchised rooftops, 36,000 independent lots, a 48.6% failure rate, and one handshake. The story is not the climb. The story is what's at the top. At the top, you don't own a dealership anymore. You own an operating subsidiary of a public consolidator with cheaper capital than you'll ever have. The badge on the wall is still Toyota or Chevrolet or BMW, but the letterhead is Berkshire or Lithia or Asbury. The real estate under your lots, average value $13.9 million per store, up 51% since 2014, is often a bigger lifetime return than the auto retail business that sat on top of it. The profit was never in the showroom. It was in the box, in the bay, and in the parking lot. The kid washing cars on the back lot in 1988 is now 55 years old, and he just sold to a holding company in Omaha, Nebraska. He drives home in a paid-off pickup. The truck is a Toyota. He bought it from a dealership he doesn't own anymore.